In 2014, the Sewol Ferry departed from Incheon to Jeju Island, a popular vacation destination in South Korea. After being delayed for roughly 2 hours because of fog and poor visibility, the Sewol left the port at around 9 p.m. The ferry had 476 people on board, including crew members and passengers. Many of those aboard were high school students. Their trip was for a few days of recreation before they start preparing for university entrance exams, a pivotal test that can determine job prospects later in life. It was announced that the ferry had 150 vehicles and 657 tons of freight on board. However, it was proven that 180 vehicles and 1,157 tons of cargo had been loaded onto it, which was twice the legal limit. On the morning of April 16th, a student aboard the ferry called emergency services from waters near Jindo, an island off the southwestern coast, saying the ship was going down. 3 minutes later, the ship's crew notified the Vessel Traffic Service Center in Jeju that the ship was in the process of sinking. In their communication with the nearest VTS center, they reported that the ship had tilted to an angle exceeding 50 degrees. The sinking shocked and left the nation in sorrow. Heartbreaking stories spread online of young people texting their parents, "I love you," one last time as the ship filled with water.
속보로 기사가 뜬 거예요. 그래서 그때부터 좀 심각성 느끼면서 애들 막
Just after 9:20 a.m., a transportation official urged the captain to make a decision on whether to begin evacuation procedures. Reports would later show that the captain waited another 10 minutes to deliver the command to evacuate. Most survivors did not recall hearing any such command, and the absence of an orderly and structured escape plan multiplied the losses.
저희 보고 이렇게 그 밖으로 뛰어내리라고 바다로.
Nearly an hour after the first emergency calls, the captain jumped a railing, landed on a patrol boat, and abandoned the ship. More than 100 passengers were still sheltering in place on board. Only 172 of the 476 people aboard were rescued. Most of the survivors who made it out alive were rescued by fishermen's boats and other boats nearby. This is because the Korean Coastal Guard arrived late to the scene to rescue them. A joint investigation by the police and the prosecution later alleged that the Sewol sank due to overloading of cargo, renovations that made the ferry dangerously top-heavy, and a steering error from the helmsman. The South Korean president at the time, Park Geun-hye, did not appear in public until about 7 hours after the news of the ship sinking was reported. The mistakes made by the government, the captain, the crew, and the coastal guards were unacceptable to the whole nation, especially the victims' families. In 2015, the Supreme Court sentenced the captain Lee Jun-suk to life imprisonment for murder as he abandoned the ship where hundreds of passengers were trapped. 14 other crew members were sentenced to up to 12 years in jail. The sunken ferry was pulled out of the waters in March 2017. The remains of 4 missing passengers were found as they were raised. The wreck of Sewol has since been placed on the dock of the southwestern port of Mokpo. Many questions are still left unanswered. Why did the president go into hiding? Why did the ship sink in the first place? Why did it take so long for the rescue mission to commence? For the past years, many investigative committees have tried to determine the cause of the sinking, but have failed to reach a conclusive solution. What actually happened to the Sewol Ferry is still unsolved.